Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatch and I'm in a completely new location for birding. I've not done much or maybe even any birding here. And today I have a completely new piece of gear. This is the OM System Mark II, a stacked sensor micro four thirds camera. And this is their flagship lens. This is the 150 to 400 fast aperture f4.5, and it has a built-in 1.25, 1.25 teleconverter. So it can be a 400 on the long end, it can be a 400 4.5, flip the teleconverter, and then it's a 500 5.6. And because this camera is micro four thirds, that gives you a full frame equivalent of either 400 millimeters, or excuse me, either 800 millimeters or 1,000 millimeters. So pretty cool. So the gear came in last night. OM System contacted me and asked if I wanted to try it out. And I said, man, I've had my eye on that camera for a while. I would love to try it out. So it came in yesterday, and really I didn't have time to do any bird photography today, but I squeezed in about 30 minutes this morning before I had to be at a different appointment, and I tried it out. The first bird that I saw was a yellow-breasted chat. It was up here in some of these trees, and I had accidentally, you can either lock the teleconverter to where it can't switch or turn the lock off, and I had the lock turned off when I set the camera up yesterday, and I had accidentally bumped it to the teleconverter being on. So my first shots were of the yellow-breasted chat with the teleconverter on. Here is the yellow-breasted chat photograph. This is with the teleconverter on. This is 500 millimeters wide open at 5.6. Only 1/200th of a second. There wasn't much light early this morning, and this is 500 ISO. It was a foggy morning, so it kind of has a foggy look to it. This shot's pretty far off, but I was still pretty satisfied with the camera on this shot. Now on this shot, the bird was a little bit closer, and I actually zoomed it back to 473 millimeters. I still had the teleconverter turned on. This is wide open at 5.6, 1/200th of a second, and ISO 640 of the beautiful yellow-breasted chat. Then I turned the teleconverter off and I ran into a wide-eyed vireo, and I got my best shots, I think, of the day of the wide-eyed vireo. It was over here in some of this foliage over in this direction and kind of right through here, and I was shooting it at 400 millimeters wide open at 4.5. Now the teleconverter is off. I'm at 400 millimeters wide open at 4.5, and this lens is 4.5 all the way from 150 to 400. This is the white-eyed vireo in the tree. I've upped my shutter speed to 1/320th of a second, and this is 500 ISO. Here's another shot on that same tree. I just love the way the white-eyed vireo is looking at us right now. This is also 400 millimeters wide open at 4.5, 1/320th of a second, and ISO 640. Now the white-eyed vireo has moved to a different perch and is singing. It's a little bit closer now. This is 1/320th, 500 ISO. I'm still at 400 millimeters and wide open at 4.5. Here's another 400 millimeter shot, still wide open at 4.5. I'm at 1/320th of a second and ISO 640. I just love the white-eyed vireo, one of my favorite birds to photograph in the springtime, and I was thrilled to be able to find it on this super fast photo session that I did just to try to get out and try out the OM System OM-1 Mark II. Here's the wide-eyed vireo on that same perch, exact same settings, 400 millimeters wide open at 4.5, 1/320th, and ISO 640, doing a little singing. And I have several pictures of the white-eyed vireo on this perch. They are 400 millimeters in f4.5. All of these are 1/320th of a second and ISO 640. Here's the next one. I love this one with the bird looking right at us. Really love the white-eyed vireo when it looks right at you and you can see both eyes. That's so cool. Here's another one just about to sing on that same perch, and another one where it actually is singing on that perch. Once again, it does have the same settings, wide open at 4.5 and 400 millimeters. And one last shot with the same settings on that same perch. Now the white-eyed vireo has moved to a different perch. I love the way this lens, when it's wide open at 4.5, renders the background just absolutely beautiful. And this is 400 millimeters, f4.5, 1/320th of a second. And this is another shot at 640 ISO. I have edited these pictures and I run all my pictures regardless of whether or not they're noisy. I run all my pictures through Topaz Denoise AI on its default settings. Later, I got some more shots of the yellow-breasted chat, but it never did come as close as the white-eyed vireo. So I flipped the teleconverter back on for those shots. Here's the last shot of the day. It's another shot of the yellow-breasted chat, and I've flipped the teleconverter back on. So this is 500 millimeters wide open at 5.6, 1/320th of a second, and 500 ISO. This is just kind of a first impressions, just a 30-minute shoot with this camera, and so far I've really enjoyed it. The autofocus system seems to work really well. The bird eye detect works really well. I've got it on electronic shutter, and it'll do 50 frames per second raw with metering and focus. I'm nowhere near that. I think I've got it at 12 or something along those lines. I'll put on the screen what I've got it set at, but I don't have it set anywhere near that fast, maybe 15. And it's pretty doggone good. The camera, the front command dial, just like a Nikon, does aperture. The rear command dial does shutter speed, and you can press this button for exposure compensation. I have auto ISO on. I'm shooting this just like I would my Nikons or my Canons or my Sonys. Manual aperture, manual shutter speed, automatic ISO, controlling the exposure with exposure compensation. So it feels just like my Nikon here, but you can change that around to feel like your Canon. The way the lens zooms is counterclockwise to get to the longer focal length, and clockwise to go to the lesser focal length. That's like a Canon camera, which is different than Nikon or Sony. So if you're used to shooting a Canon, which I am, that feels normal to you, but I'm even more used to shooting a Nikon, so it does feel just a little confusing to me, just like when I use my Canon gear, because I use Nikon more often. But that's not going to slow me down at all. This lens is super sharp. It's pretty light. I'll put the weight on the screen right now, but it's not that heavy. I'm used to shooting with my Nikon 600 PF, which is really, really light. I don't think it's as light as that, but it's pretty light. And this camera is even lighter. This camera is built like a tank, super rugged feeling. It's small, but rugged. And the battery is huge in this thing. Seems to last really long. Let's see how much battery I have left. I've been shooting solid for a half an hour, and I'm at 89% on the battery. So thanks for watching this first look and first shoot with this OM System OM-1 Mark II and their fabulous 150 to 400 lens, f4.5 super fast. Really appreciate OM System letting me try this out, and I'm going to shoot with it as much as I can during the time that I have it. So look forward to a lot more content with this camera on the channel. I also have the 150 to 600 lens, which is much less expensive. This lens is pretty expensive. It's like $74.99 US. I also have the 150 to 600. It's a lot slower. It's 6.3 on the long end, where this one's 4.5 or 5.6 with the teleconverter. But it's also a lot cheaper. So I look forward to trying that lens out as well. But today on my first shoot, I just used the super expensive lens, the Halo lens. So all in all, I was really happy with the way these pictures turned out. The first time taking the OM System OM-1 Mark II out to do some photography, and that fantastic 150 to 400 f4.5 lens with the built-in teleconverter. Really, really cool. And I can't wait to go shoot this system some more. I'm going to have it for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm going to take it out just as much as I can and make videos about it. So I hope you will stay tuned to the channel to see some more of what I can do with this Micro Four Thirds system, the best Micro Four Thirds camera in the world, in my opinion, the stacked sensor OM-1 Mark II. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, reach down, hit thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. If you want to see some more stuff like this, OM System content will be coming, quite a bit of it. Plus, I'll still have my Nikon, Sony, and Canon content. Subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.